Today on my next project, I make this simple corner L-style bench for a co-worker that I work with. Stay around and check out how we make this bench. Also, check in the description below and you'll find SketchUp files and store lists and cut lists to build this exact bench at your house. I've gone ahead and set my stop block, and now I'm going to cut my legs to the final length, which is 34 3/8 inches. You need 7 of these. So what I did do off camera is I went ahead and planed these boards just to make sure they're the same thickness. I ran them through the planer just one time and took off just a little bit on these. Then I came back and I put a little X where I wanted the section I wanted to cut off. So I want to put this X in the bottom left side of my jig. So I made this jig here off camera as well. I will have a future video on how to make a tapering jig, but pretty much all it is 2 boards, and I got them nailed together with this piece of OSB to hold them at the correct angle. It's got a little catch here at the bottom to catch my board. I will just line this up in here, set it against my fence, and then just push this straight through the table saw just like that. After I cut the taper on all 7 legs, I set the legs aside and I go back to the miter saw and cut the rest of the pieces I need. After getting my legs set up, now I'm coming back to the miter saw to go ahead and make all my cuts except for the pieces that are going to be the backs for the bench. One thing I forgot to mention is that on the leg supports, I'm going to actually rip these down to 2 inches wide. So I'm going to actually use the 2x6s to do that. So I'm going to set my table saw at 2 inches, and we're going to run these through there and cut them down to the final width. The cool thing about having a wooden workbench is I can just nail things right to the workbench, and that's exactly what I've done here. I've got a little jig set up here that's gonna, I think, will work for me. It holds, I've already checked to make sure it's square. We'll line this up just like that. These 2 there, and then we'll take our speed square and we'll start on this side and make sure we're in a good spot here on the top. Once we are, I'm going to go ahead and pre-drill. So that looks really good there. So now I'm happy. I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on this. I've got number 2 up here, and just again, same thing, I'm getting it lined up using my square to make sure we're in line. One thing I did forget to mention is I did go back and, or have gone and sanded all my pieces before I'm gluing them up. And now I'm just going to continue building these just like that. I got to build 4 in this setup, and then I need to reverse it. And I'll move this block over here, and I'll build 2 more in that setup. Because I got to have the opposites matching up on these. So for the first part of this L bench, I got it set up here. I'm gonna go ahead and put the first screw in right in here. Each one of these braces will get 2 screws. And we'll countersink them. No glue on the runners here, because if these boards end up needing to be replaced later on, they'll be able to replace them easily. Now that the first one is in place, what I can do is clamp this board here to keep them lined up with the end. I got my spacers in there. And if there's a little bit left over here at the back, that will just be washed through here at the back of this. And I'm fine with that. So now we can go ahead and drill all these holes. Alright, and this side's done. We'll move to the other end and do the same thing. Again, on the opposite side, I've lined up my first board, which is the most important one, to get it lined up. And now we're going to go ahead and attach it. Now we do the same on this middle one. Bench number 2, we're following the same steps. Now I'm just going to put all these screws in it. So I got the other end put on. Both ends are put on just like I did on the other bench set. Now we're going to add all these middle ones. So these are all in. This bench is very sturdy. Now we're going to take this down and we're going to look at trying to get the back on it to bring these 2 benches together. So here's what's going on. I went ahead and cut this back piece to a 15-degree angle, so this first one will butt up against this. It's going to be close, but the second one may end up passing through it. If it'll pass through past this side here, then I'll let it pass through. If not, I'll cut it also. The top 2 I know will go through here, and they'll stick out past this a little bit to where they can meet up back here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and attach it to these 3 here, 1, 2, and 3, and that will allow it to hold it in place. Everything else looks good on it, so we'll drill 2 holes in each of them. This board here is not actually attached yet. It will be attached to this brace after we get this moved to the final location where it's going to go at. That'll be so it'll be easy to take it apart and move it the way we need to. You can see I got a couple of spacers here. This is to help space this properly throughout, to keep the same spacing throughout the whole bench. So we're ready for the next one. We'll start off by setting our spacers up here on both ends. Then we'll set our board up here. And now we're to the last rail, and we'll rinse and repeat. Same process on this one as well. Just like so. I'll go ahead and add the rest of the screws in this one as well, and that'll complete this side, and we'll move to this other side. So for this side, here's what we got going on. I've already cut my angle down here to 15 degrees. Sets there, it works there. Got my spacers in. What I did is I took a piece of scrap, placed it on the back, and made a mark. Now I'm going to take this to the miter saw and cut it to the final length. And there, that looks good right there. So now we're going to screw and attach this to the back. Now we'll move to the next one, do the exact same thing again. Now back to the top one. We've got it lined up where it needs to be at, and now we're just going to screw it in place. Now this side is done. I'll come back and wrap the bottom of the bench with some wood to make it look a little bit more cleaned up. So now I'll go ahead and add my trim piece that'll go here on the front. And now I'll add a piece just like this to the opposite side. This project is finished. It looks great. I'm fixing to take it apart, deliver it, and reassemble it once I get it there. And if I can, I'll take a few pictures once it's on the back porch at its permanent location. But this is the bench. Here it is. It's a corner or L-shaped bench. So hope you guys enjoyed this. There will be plans linked down below. Also probably a website article and maybe a store list, cut list, things like that. And I will provide the SketchUp file that I made for this exact bench. So you can check all that out down below. If this happens to be your first video you're checking out of mine, make sure you click that subscribe button and allow you to stay in tune with all the videos I've come out on my channel. Also, I have Instagram. If you follow me there, you know I posted some pictures of this exact bench on Instagram. So make sure you go over there and check me out on Instagram as well. Thanks again for watching, and as always, y'all will see me next time.